And this is breaking news right now. The Justice Department has closed its investigation. It will not pursue a further case against former acting FBI Director Andrew McCabe, meaning no charges will be brought against McCabe.
No, really? Two sets of laws and two sets of different consequences depending on whether you are part of the establishment, i.e. the swamp, or part of whether it be a Trump supporter or just regular America. No, we couldn't possibly have a double standard, two-tier justice system. Not in the United States. Say it ain't so. Fired former Associate FBI Director Andrew McCabe, who during the entire Russian collusion investigation into all things Donald Trump, when he himself was being investigated, he lacked candor. That was the wording. He lacked candor in his answers to the FBI when being asked about leaks and leaks to the media. Lacked candor. That's a Harvard $50 word for lying. That is exactly what that means. It means he lied to investigators. And what happened to him? Nothing. And by the way, it's now not just that he has been vindicated by the Department of Justice and that, we're not going to file any charges. He did lack candor, but he's been fired. He's been disgraced. You understand that he lacked candor and used his lack of candor to also help secure the FISA warrants that were used to spy on Donald Trump. So he lacked candor in the application process, to which means then FISA went ahead and issued and granted the warrants needed to spy on the then private citizen Donald Trump presidential campaign. But he's not going to face any jail time, any prison time. And he's being used right now to sit on the panel which is looking into problems with the FISA warrant application process, and he's there to make recommendations, which you know what that means? He's not doing that as a volunteer. We're still paying him. And remember now, he was fired. And Donald Trump said mean things to him, and you know that his attorneys are going to now use the fact that he's been vindicated and no charges brought against him. Why, he's going to sue the government for back wages and promotional wage increases that he would have been guaranteed by our bureaucratic system. And he's going to get all that now, and we get to pay for it. And he's going to make all kinds of money on his private speaking tours and the fact that he's now going to be probably a paid panelist for CNN. That's what happens to somebody from the swamp when they lie to investigators during an investigation that, as I said yesterday, the entire investigation was a fraud. The entire investigation was a lie. They knew Donald Trump had not colluded with Russia. They knew it. But they needed an excuse to try to cover their coup, bringing in a special prosecutor, hoping to find something, anything that they could use to overturn the election of Donald J. Trump. It was a fraudulent investigation. The investigation itself was a lie. And what happens to Andrew McCabe for lying in the investigation to investigators? Nothing. What happened to Roger Stone? 9 years in prison. That was the sentence recommendation from the Department of Justice prosecutors. Bill Barr stepped in, and the swamp, the lying, no-good, rat-infested, democrat, Democrat libloons went ballistic.
We should all be calling for the resignation of the Attorney General. If he won't resign,
Attorney General William Barr ought to be ashamed and embarrassed and resign.
I have formally requested that the Inspector General of the Justice Department investigate this matter immediately.
So let me get this straight. Andrew McCabe lies and helps create false information to take to a FISA court to obtain false warrants to investigate falsely into Donald J. Trump. When investigated, he lies, lack of candor. He gets fired, but he's not going to see any jail time. And now his attorneys have grounds to sue the government for back wages, give him some kind of an apology, And he's sitting on the committee that's overseeing the changes at the recommendation of the Inspector General, which need to happen to FISA. That would be like, let me help you wrap your head around this one, and I'll let the libloons' heads explode after I use this illustration. So the Inspector General, who was supposed to come out and tell us just how fraudulent the whole Mueller investigation was, again, proving that the swamp will always cover for the swamp, no matter if they're a Democrat or a Republican, the swamp always takes care of its own. The Inspector General comes out and says, yes, there were serious problems with the whole FISA warrant system. It needs to be modified. Even James Comey is out there saying, yes, that's true, that we need to overhaul that system. That would be like a group of plantation owners saying to Abraham Lincoln back in the day, hey, you know what? We realize we've probably been a little bit too hard on our darkies. We'll regulate ourselves better. And President Lincoln going, okay, that'll work. Now, just the way I illustrated that, you got angry and offended if you're a liberal. But that is exactly what you're doing. You people are such liars, and you're so double standard, hypocritical, two sets of rules for you and a whole different set for the rest of us. Now, Judge Napolitano, who is certainly no big Trump supporter on any stretch of the imagination, did come out and say, you know what? Trump's got some points here. Roger Stone has a case for a new trial. Because, see, Roger Stone was sentenced to 9 years for lying. A rapist, average sentence is 4 years. Roger Stone lied to investigators. 9 years? 9 years. And then the president tweeted, there's something not right about this. And of course, the Attorney General, William Barr, did have to say, now, Mr. President, please stay out of this. Which right away, Nancy Botox Pelosi, we're going to have to consider more investigation. Let me fix my dentures. And I need a drink. Somebody have a drink ready for me. Because I'm a lying lush. Have a drink ready for me. This president, again, is abuse of power. And he's not following the Constitution. And he had no right to say what he said. And now, Attorney General needs to resign. And we have to consider more impeachment charges against Donald Trump. I haven't considered if it's dentures or she's just a stroke mouth. This may shock you, but the president is an actual legal citizen of the United States. And even the president of the United States has this thing called the freedom of speech. And he is the chief law enforcement officer of the land. He can express an opinion. And expressing an opinion is not necessarily giving a directive. It is just that. I seem to recall Barack Obama would express opinions ahead of Supreme Court decisions. He expressed opinions about what he thought the Supreme Court ought to do regarding the legalization of same-sex marriage. President Barack Obama, just days before it was rumored that the decision was coming from the Supreme Court as to whether or not the federal government could mandate that you and I as American citizens buy health insurance. Before that decision actually came out, Barack Obama, in news conferences and when asked, very directly answered what he thought the Supreme Court better do. Donald Trump sends out a tweet that says 9 years for lying to an investigator seems a bit excessive. And then he turns around and tweets about a member of the jury which found Roger Stone guilty, talking about Republicans are racist. And just a quick check of their social media, we find out that for years they have been tweeting and texting and posting things that were anti-Trump. A person like that should not have even been on the jury. And Judge Napolitano said that right there is absolute grounds for overturning the entire Roger Stone case and should entitle Roger Stone to a new trial.
Judge?
Let me say at the outset that I have known Roger Stone for 40 years. I'm going to take that out of the equation. He's absolutely entitled to a new trial with a member of the jury making these kinds of revelations about the politics involved in the decisions to prosecute him. Before we even get to the propriety of the sentence and whether the president can weigh in on the sentence, I'll explain to you how that works. My views are the same as the former attorney general. Look, I've presided over 150 jury trials. It is most were criminal.
Right.
It is the duty of the judge to ensure that both the government and the defendant get a fair trial. And if the judge discovers afterwards that there was a built-in inherent bias on the part of a member of the jury against the defendant,
right,
that is an automatic trigger for a new trial. She's going to have to call those jurors back in and interrogate them or make a decision on the spot.
Well,
and then in another shocker, Judge Knapp went on to defend President Trump in his tweet, saying, hey, he has a right to tweet what he tweeted. Maybe that wasn't the best way to do it. Maybe he should have just picked the phone up and called his attorney general directly. But then again, one thing you can't say is that Trump does things secretly. You talk about people want transparency from a president. I would say this is pretty transparent. It was out there for the whole world to see it. You know, he does things privately, they impeach him. He does things publicly, they want to impeach him. This is unbelievable. But Judge Knapp did defend the president.
Is 9 years too much? That's what they recommended.
Absolutely too much. You know, the Attorney General Whitaker was just explaining to you how the algorithm works, how you add aggravating and mitigating factors.
Right.
Those are subjective. Is Roger Stone a danger to society? Absolutely not. Was anybody harmed as a result of what Roger Stone did? Absolutely not. Is the President of the United States of America, who is the chief federal law enforcement officer in the land, entitled to express an opinion to his Attorney General about a case the DOJ is prosecuting? Of course he is. One of the greatest attorney generals in our lifetimes was the president's brother. Don't you think they talk to each other? When are you going to indict Jimmy Hoffa? I've been waiting for that for a long time. That would be a normal and expected conversation.
So Andrew McCabe lies to the media, leaks things as part of the lying to the FISA court system to illegally obtain warrants to spy on the Trump campaign. No charges. James Comey lies, leaked. No charges. He gets a multi-gazillion-dollar book deal, gets to travel and speak and charge absolutely immoral, outrageous speaking fees, becomes a multi-millionaire. Hillary Rodham Clinton? Do we even have time to talk about her crimes? Having her staff destroy mobile devices, destroy computers, bleach bit memories and erase files. No obstruction there. No charges filed there. Roger Stone, 9 years for lying? Really? Really? And if the president dares say anything, more impeachment and the attorney general needs to resign? Really? So was letting Andrew McCabe off the hook today, was that, the DOJ's way of signaling the establishment, hey, we kind of had to give this president this one on Roger Stone, but hey, we're still protecting the swamp. None of these lying no-goods can be trusted. None of them. Where's the... Talk about a real shift here. Where's the Harvey Weinstein movie? Huh? You know Harvey Weinstein, the guy that was the big movie mogul that it turns out, he basically, did what we always known went on in Hollywood, and that was the thing called the casting couch. Forcing starlets to watch him shower, give him massages. We call it, raped, unwanted sexual advancement. He ended up, not only having to give up his lucrative movie career, but the company he founded, fired him, kicked him off the board. Every Hollywood actor is trying to deny they even know that Harvey Weinstein exists. But see, Harvey Weinstein supported all the liberal causes. He supported all the feminist stuff. He supported, basically gun bans and, the erosion of your Second Amendment rights. I mean, he was a libs liberal, but a nasty pervert. So he got a pass for years until finally they couldn't ignore it anymore. But yet, we don't have any nasty movies out there about him. Roger Ailes, forced out at Fox News over supposedly sexual harassment of the blonde legs that worked at Fox News that he hired and would make inappropriate comments to, etc. There have been documentaries about it. The Stars Movie Channel, which is an HBO knockoff, did like a 7 or a 9-part movie series. Russell Crowe starred as Roger Ailes. We just had the big Hollywood blockbuster in the theater that even got some Academy Award nods called Bombshell. And yet, no movie about Harvey Weinstein or Jeffrey Epstein either. But see, they were liberals. They're part of the swamp. They get protected. Roger Ailes, no good, nasty, right-wing son of a gun who liked Trump. And I am sure they're not done making movies about it. Two sets of laws, two sets of consequences. And at some point, American patriots are going to be done with all this foolishness, and we're going to exercise some justice. That said, that's it for this rant. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a like. Make sure you're a subscriber to the channel and smack the bell for notification of my next rant.